Time now for the Educated Retirement Show with your host, Jay Kaplan. Jay discusses reverse mortgages and can answer your questions at 951-922-3532. Call lines are open at 951-922-3532. And now here's Jay.
And first of all, Merry Christmas to everyone. And both people listening, no, everyone out there. Really appreciate that you're here on Christmas Eve. And I think probably a lot of people got off early, so the freeways may not be quite as bad. So, but who knows? Whatever it is, it is. But it is Christmas time, so enjoy. And welcome to the Educated Retirement here on KMET, where we do contemplate retirement and how to best prepare for that retirement and how to best stay successfully retired. And in place of one guest today, I've got two. It's actually Grandpa from Grandpa Speaks and Daryl from West Coast Business Review. And we pre-recorded it because we had to, because, you know, especially Grandpa was busy with a lot of his family, which is a wonderful thing. But you don't want to miss it. And because we do sing, the three of us harmonize to sing for you Jingle Bells. And, you know, if you don't throw up or get excited and get upset, it's worth listening to in any case. And instead of being at the 3:30, you know, normally when we have a guest, it's between 3:30 and 4. This will be between 4:30 and 5. But because it's the best way to say Merry Christmas is to sign off with us singing. So there. Anyway. Back to business here. Absolutely meet your retirement needs, top off your tank with money, amongst other things, so you can make it all the way. Remember that the future is now because knowledge is power. And our phone number is 866-955-2233, 866-955-2233. There we are. And also, don't forget the website, which is same as the name of this show, theeducatedretirement.com or drheckham.com, as in drhecm.com. And HECM stands for Home Equity Conversion Mortgage, but you know, I seldom think of it as a mortgage, more as a financial planning tool and a way to strategize. But theeducatedretirement.com, and once you're there, you'll see a lot of great articles, not just by me, but by a lot of other people, and a blog with a bunch of good stuff. And there's also a link about halfway down the front page for to look up YouTube. And I'm not quite up to date, but I will be by next week. I'm pretty close to up to date. And Danny Luna is watching on Facebook. So hello, Danny. And reminds me, anyway, Danny, I'm going to call you as soon as the show is over. And we were also talking about having you back on the show with your father this next time. But in any case, Merry Christmas. And speaking of other shows here on KMET, we did say Let Grandpa Speak. We talked about that a little bit here earlier. But his show is on every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. And to me, and to anybody else that listens, it is the very best way to listen to him laugh. You know exactly what I mean. So Merry Christmas, Grandpa, and Merry Christmas, Daryl, who is, you'll see here in a bit. And he has the West Coast Business Review. I always watch his show before mine. I watched it a little earlier today great show on last Wednesday, I mean, about show business and the history and the future thereof. So remember, you can go to my website, you can go to the site KMET website, and just look at where it says watch my show live. You can also go back and watch his or Grandpa's or whatever. But he is on every Wednesday at 4 p.m. And they always give a plug for this show. And Bill Morris has been spending quite a bit of time with him on that show. And Bill is a great guy, also a repeat offender here. So, and don't speaking of repeat offenders, I picked that up from Ron Siegel. Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show here on KMET Monday through Friday at 6 p.m. And I'm on his show once a month, and I was on his show a little over a week ago, and I think I actually used part of that show and put it on mine because I liked it. So there. So my day job, and I got one, is at the Loan Source. And my NMLS number is 384565. My Department of Real Estate number, 792630. And as you've probably heard me say in the past, I do not sell real estate, but I do stay on top of those things. And today is December 24th, National Eggnog Day. And let me ask our director here, what do you know about eggnog? Anything?
Okay. Eggnog is a holiday cocktail, a mix of eggs, cream, sugar, nutmeg, and booze.
Booze.
Yep. It's been around since 16th century. At that time, it was made with spices, milk, eggs, and wine. It was served chunky because the milk curdled by the hot wine.
I used to be chunky myself. And this is not nutmeg, this is coffee. What can I say? Or whatever it is. Eggnog.
Eggnog. The word nog comes from noggin, which is a small wooden mug, usually used to drink ale.
I thought it was my noggin I have up here. It's also the last minute shoppers day, but that's pretty self-explanatory. National Candy Cane Lane Day. Candy Cane Lane, yeah.
Let's see. The largest candy cane was 51 feet long, made by Swiss chef Alan Robbie in 2011, and it hit the world record. And
it's still there.
Yeah. Yep.
So National Pumpkin Pie Day is December the 25th. Now, I wonder why Pumpkin Pie Day is around this and not around Thanksgiving. Any news on that?
No, I don't have any
update
on that.
Well,
but in September of 2010 at the New Brennan Pumpkin Fest in New Brennan, Ohio.
Pumpkin Fest,
yep,
all right.
In Ohio, the New Brennan giant pumpkin growers made a pie 20 feet in diameter, and it tipped the scales at 3,699 pounds, and it was the largest pumpkin pie ever made.
Wow, and would I like a piece of that? I do like pumpkin pie. Anyway, so let's not mess around with too much pumpkin. Let's get on and talk about some of the nostalgia that we like to get into. And with people's birthdays. And December 24th, which is pretty close to today, is the birthday of Michael Curtiz, Curtiz, who was born 1886 and earned his wings in 1962. As far as I know, he directed every single movie Warner Brothers ever did. I think that's probably an overstatement, but that's kind of what it is. Anyway, he was Hungarian-born American film director, directed classic films from the silent era and numerous other Hollywood's golden age, from the golden age. And we're already a well-known director in Europe when Warner Brothers invited him when he was 39 years. Wow, he was that old already and did so many films to this country. He had already directed 64 films in Europe and soon helped Warner Brothers become the fastest-growing movie studio up until that time. He directed 102 films in Hollywood and put Doris Day and John Garfield on the screen for the first time, made stars of Errol Flynn, Olivia de Havilland, and Betty Davis. Let me show you a few pictures of him. If you have, what he looks like is kind of new to me too. But my God, everything you ever, whenever you see, I mean, every one of those movies, you see his name, and that's why I said I thought he did everything. And I always had it in mind what he probably looked like, but it wasn't this. But that's okay. Why not? Oh, that's cool. On the Facebook thing, it's got these wiggly eyes, and it showed up there too. These all look like it's about the same era in his life, these pictures. But we'll go through them, and then we'll get on with it. Here he is, Danny Kaye, giving him a big hug. He does look a little older there. Unfortunately, Danny Kaye passed away from a bad blood transfusion, but that's the way it goes. That's it? Okay. And he was among those who introduced to Hollywood a visual style using artistic lighting, high crane shots, and unusual camera angles. Michael was born in Budapest to a Jewish family. His father was a carpenter, and his mother was an opera singer. He said as a young child he had a lower middle class upbringing, and that his family's home was a cramped apartment where he had to share a small room with two brothers and a sister. Wow. Many times we were hungry, and he had said, and Curtiz became attracted to the theater when he was a child. He built a little theater in the cellar of his family's home where he and his friends reenacted plays. They set up the stage with scenery and props, and Curtiz directed them. Let me lower the light here. And I forgot my box here, so it looks like, if it looks like I'm looking down and reading, guess what? It's because I am. After he graduated from college at 19, he took a job as an actor with a traveling theater company. And from that job, he became a pantomimist with a circus. Wow. Joined another traveling theater and performed throughout Europe when he eventually learned 5 languages. Pretty smart guy and a pretty exciting life. It sounds varied life, sounds like to me. Curtiz worked at the Hungarian National Theater and was a member of the Hungarian fencing team at the Olympic Games in Stockholm. Wow. He studied at a studio in Denmark, which led to work as an actor and an assistant director. He directed films not only in Denmark, but also Hungary and Vienna, and he began his career with Warner Brothers in 1926, which became a 28-year length of time where he directed 86 more films, including his best work. It was said that Curtiz, Michael, had an amazing command of lighting, mood, and action. He could handle any kind of picture, melodrama, comedy, western, historic epic, or a love story. I don't think he did any monster movies or science fiction, but, can always hope you could find one in there. His collections include musicals such as Yankee Doodle Dandy, James Cagney, The Jazz Singer, Danny Thomas and Peggy Lee, White Christmas, Bing Crosby, Danny Kaye, Rosemary Clooney, as well as Kid Creole with Elvis Presley. That's quite a list. And here is a short list of Michael Curtiz films. Dr. X, 1932, starred Fay Wray, Lionel Atwell, Preston Foster. And I've watched these many, many times. This is, of course, the Laserdisc, two of them on one, because they were both kind of horror films, weren't they?
They've been on Svengoolie too.
Oh, yeah, they've been on Svengoolie, too. And who's on Svengoolie?
Earth versus the Spider.
Earth versus the Spider will be tomorrow on Svengoolie. What a great Christmas movie that must be. These two films were in color. They were kind of color. They were Cinecolor, which meant 2-strip instead of 3-strip, and it was kind of cool. But those were good. And the famous, what we say, synthetic flesh came from Dr. X. Anyway, Mystery of the Wax Museum, 1933, was starred Fay Wray, Lionel Atwell. Adventures of Robin Hood. Oh no, this is the good one. And again, I'm showing this because it's more bigger. And nice picture here. One thing about this film is it's really good. If you haven't seen it, and it's I think one of the two, and there may be more, and people can let me know. One of the really great early Technicolor. And if you remember, early Technicolor had absolutely nothing to do with reality. It was just like more color than it should have been, but I loved it. And this film and Wizard of Oz are my two favorite Technicolor films. And I wish that somebody would they could probably digitally turn it back into something like that. So anyway, Adventures of Robin Hood starred Errol Flynn, Olivia de Havilland, Basil Rathbone, Claude Rains, and the film was nominated for 4 Oscars and won 3 out of 4. Yes, Michael Curtiz directed Casablanca, 1942, starred Humphrey Bogart, Ingrid Bergman, Paul Henreid. Film nominated for 8 Oscars and won 3, including Best Picture and Best Director. There it is, as you all know. And Jackie Ott is watching also on Facebook. So let me just say Merry Christmas also to Jackie, and that I have looked into your question, and I'll be getting more information on a little after Christmas. I looked up everything myself as much as I could, and wanted to make sure by asking some others. So I will be getting back to you. So Romance on the High Seas, 1948, starred Doris Day, Jack Carson, Janice Page, Don DeFore, and that's I kind of put that together with My Dream Is Yours, 1949, with also Doris Day and Jack Carson. Those were the days when Doris Day had long hair. And I've shown you those two films before. They come in a double thing, and couldn't find them just now. There's Romance on the High Seas. Hold on a second while I retry that. Romance on the High Seas. That's just a picture of of one of the lobby cards. And My Dream Is Yours, which is kind of like one of those, but not I like the other one better, but this is also entertaining. And they both have Doris Day and Jack Carson, I think, is in both of them, huh? And, we already talked about Casablanca, and I showed the video, but here is, just for the heck of it, there and there, just to show you. And this is a radio drama of the same name, and talking about the Casbah. Humphrey Bogart, Ingrid Bergman, Paul Henreid, a complete screen, and they did it on radio drama also. Young Man with a Horn, which is right here. And we talked about this the other day when we talked about the birthday of God, Michael Curtiz. I see. I guess I didn't realize it at the time.
Kirk
Douglas, of
yeah.
course. Yeah, that's what I was doing there. And that was Kirk Douglas, Lauren Bacall, Doris Day, Hoagie Carmichael, Denzel Watt, and let's change this. I was moving into the very next person, which I should not have been doing. Let me just do this so that I know where I am. Not that it matters. So Denzel is 66 years old, born in 1954. He is just a youngster. Denzel Hayes Washington Jr. is an American actor, director, and producer. He is known for his performances on the screen, stage, and has been described as the actor who reconfigured the concept of classic movie stardom. That very well could be. Excuse me while I have some coffee here. He's earned 2 Academy Awards, 3 Golden Globes, a Screen Actors Guild Award, and a Tony Award, and received the Cecil B. DeMille Lifetime Achievement Award. And Denzel, strange name in a way. I mean, because of him, we don't think of it as different, but now that I think of it, I don't think I know anybody else with that name, nor have heard of anybody else. Anyway, he was born in Mount Vernon and New York, and his mother was a beauty parlor owner and operator. His father was an ordained Pentecostal minister who was also an employee of the New York City Water Department and worked at a local S. Klein.
Yeah.
What'd the S stand for?
Department store.
But the S, we don't know what it's saying. I do remember Klein, but anyway, when Denzel was 14, his parents divorced, and his mother sent him to private preparatory school, Oakland Military Academy in New York. He grew up attending the Boys Club in Mount Vernon, earned a BA in drama and journalism from Fordham University, and played basketball there. He worked as a creative arts director of a summer camp in Connecticut, and after participating in a staff talent show for the campers, it was suggested that he try acting. Later, Denzel did just that. He attended graduate school in San Francisco and then returned to New York to begin a professional acting career. And after appearing in summer stock and small roles in Hollywood, a major career break came his way. When he starred as, and I don't remember this, Philip Chandler in NBC's television hospital drama, St. Elsewhere, which ran from 1982 to 1988, and 1989 he won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for the film Glory. And, let's look at these pictures here first. All right, they're a little bit on the younger side. Still a bit younger, but it certainly do look like him. Sure does. And a little bit older here. And of course, very recognizable now. And a little bit more current. And I don't think we've got much to say here about his son, but
At the end of this.
we do. His son is, boy, he's been in some great films and done some great work. and he's going to be another great actor. So, at one time, Denzel considered becoming a preacher. He donated $2.5 million to help build the new West Angeles Church of God in Christ facility in Los Angeles. He has served as a national spokesman for Boys and Girls Club of America and has served as board member since 1995. So because of his work with the club, the New York City Elementary School decided to officially name their school after him, or one of their schools, in 2004. He participated in a Purple Heart ceremony, presenting medals to 3 Army soldiers recovering from wounds when stationed in Iraq, and he made substantial donations to the Fisher House Foundation, which is a foundation building homes for veterans, and also to the Nelson Mandela's Children's Fund. And Denzel Washington starred in over 65 films. His son, oh, there you go, John David Washington, is also an actor, has starred in several films, notably Tenet. And there was another one on Netflix. It was a Netflix movie called...
Beckett. I've got it on
You got it here, huh? Beckett. That's right. Christopher Nolan did Tenet. And then Beckett was directed by Ferdinando Cito Filomarino. I hate to pronounce the names wrong the same way that Snoop Dogg did on the Golden Globes when he pronounced Denis Villeneuve as Dennis Villanueva, but so be it. Short film, you'd think that, they would kind of coach some people to say the names correctly. Anyway, short film of Denzel Washington, Glory. And this is the movie soundtrack by James Horner. Did that. There we go. Edward Zwick, we met him once at Newport Beach Film Festival. I think it's when he was right after he had done Blood Diamond, which was another great film. And what do we got here? We have, the movie, Glory. And great film this was and is. Okay? And anyway, it was, like I said, directed by Edward Zwick, Z-W-I-C-K, starred Matthew Broderick, Morgan Freeman, and film nominated for 5 Oscars and won 3, including Best Actor for Denzel. Also, Philadelphia, 1993, directed by Jonathan Demme. Didn't he do that one about the FBI agent, what do you call it? The Silence of the Lambs. I'm going to check on that. Anyway, this starred Tom Hanks, Jason Robards, who I really missed, Joanne Woodward. Music by Howard Shore, who you know what I think of him. And film nominated for 5 Oscars and won 2. Crimson Tide, 1995, directed by Tony Scott. And, there we go. And Ridley Scott's brother. And, of course, there's still a mystery in my mind as to why he jumped off the bridge in San Pedro. But I don't know. And if anybody does know, let us know. Not that I want to get into those kind of weird things, but I, still want to know. Crimson Tide starred Gene Hackman, Viggo Mortensen, and Fallen was directed by Gregory Hoblit, not The Hobbit, Gregory Hoblit, starred John Goodman, Donald Sutherland. Now, here is Fallen. says, don't trust a soul. Okay, well, there's a decent picture of Denzel. Now, one thing I wanted to say about this is, to me, this was almost a remake of a film done earlier called The Hidden. And I like The Hidden actually better. This was a 2 thumbs up by you-know-who. And this was, well, I don't want to get too far into it, just to let you know, but if you can find The Hidden with Kyle MacLachlan and Michael Nouri, I think that is almost the same story, no? And I think this is a little weirder, a little better, but so be it for me. Anyway, The Bone Collector. And The Bone Collector was directed by Philip Noyce, starred Angelina Jolie. Training Day, which was an amazing film, I thought, was directed by Anton Fugua, Fugua, Fugua. Anyway, I am mispronouncing.
Kind of a bad guy in that one,
huh? What do you mean, kind of a bad guy? A real bad guy. And starred Ethan Hawke, Scott Glenn, Snoop Dogg, who maybe learned how to pronounce names by then. Oh, that was in the past, right? Won't happen. Film nominated for 2 Oscars and 1 for Best Actor for Denzel Washington, and he was amazing in that. Inside Man, which was 2006. Director was Spike Lee, starred Clive Owen, Christopher Plummer, William Dafoe, and I thought there was somebody else that, but we won't get into that right now. Deja Vu, which I thought was very, very, very interesting premise, but I don't know, it didn't quite pull off like it could have, but it's still very, very interesting premise. 2006, another one directed by Tony Scott, starred Val Kilmer. Poor guy is fighting disease, right? We'll get into that another time. Bruce Greenwood, who is really a good actor. American Gangster, another really great one, this time by Tony's brother, Ridley Scott. Starred Russell Crowe, Idris Elba, who is one of my favorite guys, Josh Brolin, another favorite guys, Ejiofor, and I think we know who that is, but boy, here I am. You know what? I deserve this after giving Snoop Dogg all that BS for not knowing how to pronounce names. Anyway, that film was nominated for 2 Academy Awards, and don't know what it won. So what can I say?
Didn't.
Anyway, I hear some beeping in there, Sean. Anything going on, or are we okay? Can't quite hear you, but so I guess I'll just go on. Anyway, NASA Nellie is somewhere in outer space. And I do believe that the space station is kind of coming around right now. And let's listen for her retro rockets. There they are. And I guess that beeping we hear in the background, Sean, is also coming somewhere from outer space, maybe from the people who live on Mars. There's some more beeps. So anyway, make sure you write down those beeps, because they may be some kind of code from Mars. Mm-hmm. And we haven't really heard much from Mars since Nikola Tesla thought he was hearing people from Mars. But go ahead, NASA Nellie.
December 26, 1980. The place was Royal Air Force Woodbridge, Suffolk, England. Maybe you were still watching movies like The Shining or The Fog after Christmas in 1980, but in the Rendlesham Forest, several U.S. Air Force personnel, including Base Commander Lieutenant Colonel Charles Halt, were watching something entirely different. What they saw turned out to be one of the most famous UFO incidents in the United Kingdom. It is said to be the Britain's Roswell. After daybreak, a glowing object, metallic and triangular in appearance, with colored lights, moved through the trees to the amazement of the military. They originally thought it had been a downed aircraft as it dropped out of sight. The men returned to that area and found burn marks and broken branches on nearby trees and impressions in the dirt. That night, it appeared a second time, resembling an eye as it moved through the trees, dodging the men, throwing off glowing particles that broke up in 5 separate white objects, green and blue in color, and even beamed down a stream of light at the feet of the men, all of this just suddenly disappearing. A fascinating, complete report was left on tape by Halt during the entire sighting in his own words in real time. There were several additional witnesses, including Sergeant Jim Peniston, one of the first responders who claimed he not only saw the object, but even touched the surface. He recorded the entire encounter in his notebook, including drawings of the craft. At the time of the sighting, he claimed, "No sound, no air disturbance, takeoff, unknown, speed, impossible." Jim's notebook actually turned out to be one of the most explosive documents in this case, if not all of ufology. The notebooks not only contain descriptions of the craft, smooth opaque black glass, and its hieroglyphic inscriptions, but also many pages of telepathically downloaded binary code that he documented as he actually touched the craft. On an episode of Ancient Aliens, the code was cracked by experts and supposedly read the following notes. Exploration of humanity from the year 8100. The middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Continuous for planetary advancement. Also, coordinates refer to several areas around the globe, including Belize, Sedona, Arizona, Giza Desert in Egypt, and Nazca, Peru. Jim was ridiculed and was even put under hypnosis to see if he was hoaxing the contents of the notebook. Truly something to think about. That's another show altogether. John Burroughs, another military witness, along with Jim, authored books about this remarkable occurrence, along with journalist Nick Pope, who was employed by the British government Ministry of Defense. Responsible for investigating UFO sightings to determine challenges to security. There have been not only books, but films, TV interviews, and touring lectures highlighting the strange sighting as well as debunking articles. It is still considered to be the best documented UFO encounter to this day.
Wow. Now, I think you have some more current events to talk about also, do you not?
Yeah.
And also on that account, a lot of the naysayers were yapping about it being the nearby lighthouse. But that lighthouse has its lights covered, right? Ever since it was built, that lighthouse does not project its light at all towards the land. But go ahead, please.
And plus, they worked there for many years, and they would know the difference between a lighthouse and a UFO. I have an update on the James Webb Space Telescope. The James Webb Space Telescope is the next of NASA's great observatories, following in the line of the Hubble Space Telescope. It is going to launch tomorrow morning from a launch pad in French Guiana on the northeast shoulder of South America.
Now, let me ask you a technical question. Isn't that going to get in the way of Santa Claus?
Santa Claus will know how to get around it.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
He might show it the way anyway, okay. So, yeah. The time will be 7:20 a.m. Eastern on Saturday, December 25th, 4:20 a.m. Pacific time. At the heart of this $10 billion marvel is a 24-foot diameter primary mirror nearly 3 times the size of the mirror aboard the Hubble Space Telescope. That will enable the telescope to observe the faint glow from some of the oldest, most distant objects in the universe. It will see the first stars and galaxies that emerged from the dust and gas of the early universe only a few billion years after the Big Bang. The Webb must cruise for 29 days to a unique orbit around the sun that keeps it roughly 1 million miles from Earth. At that point, it must begin opening up to becoming a functioning telescope, sun shield, giant umbrella, solar panels, and in 6 months, Earth should be receiving some of its first images, maybe even before that. Okay, who was James Webb? James Webb ran NASA in the 1960s during the space race and insisted on striking a balance between human spaceflight and science.
Well, thank you, NASA Nellie. I am still showing some pictures. Not all real. Somewhere the picture of the mirror was a real one. And, we're really into astronomy, and we think we have a big telescope here with a mirror that's 12 inches. That one is how big?
20, let me see again.
24
feet.
24
in
feet.
diameter. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much, NASA Nellie. Are you taking off now to those retro rockets? Again, were provided by a grant from Danny Luna and Danny Luna. Luna not meaning the moon in this case, but I guess it could be. So there was one movie we did not show. Wasn't on there. Another 2 thumbs up from Denzel, and that was Devil in a Blue Dress, which didn't make it on the verbal part of the show, but there it is. And again, it's kind of an early LA kind of thingy. Carl Franklin directed it, and what is this? Jonathan Demme here also was a producer. So there. So Jonathan got around more than I thought. Anyway, as the beeping goes on, and I don't know whether that is, it has taken off. No, it's going to take off tomorrow, 4 o'clock our time.
Yeah.
4 a.m. our time. But I think it's already signaling me. That's what those beeps I hear. I don't know if other listeners are hearing it or not. But it's kind of cool, really. It's a kind of a cool backdrop to this. And let me, when as it, pertains to our season. And also, we did talk about candy canes, right? Looks like an earring, but it's not. What is it?
It's just an ornament.
It's an ornament. Ornament.
I thought it was cute.
It's candy cane-ish. So there. And let's get on with our famous people's birthdays. And another infamous, whichever one you want to do, would be Howard Hughes. And he was born today in 1905. And he flew away, earned his wings. Actually, he earned a lot of wings, but his final wings were given to him in 1976. God, it seems like just yesterday, but that's what happens when you get old like me. Howard Robart Hughes Jr. was a USA business magnet. Or do we have a magnet nearby? No. Investor, record-setting pilot, film director. I don't know if did he direct or he was mostly a producer. I think a producer. And philanthropist, and known during his lifetime as one of the most financially successful individuals in the world. He became a prominent film producer then an important figure in aviation industry, and later in life he became known for his eccentric behavior and reclusive lifestyle, his obsessive compulsive disorder, chronic pain from a near fatal plane crash, and increasing deafness. I think he was really afraid of germs, wasn't he? He was just crazy. And let me tell you, germs is one thing we're not going to ever get away from. They is everywhere. Anyway, where did it all begin? Hughes was born in Humble, not that he was, but Humble, Texas. His father was a successful inventor. Well, that's where he got some of that from. And businessman, and obtained several patents and founded the Hughes Tool Company in 1909. At a young age, Howard showed interest in science, technology, and at 12 he was photographed in the local newspaper as the first boy in Houston to have a motorized bicycle, which he had built from parts from his father's steam engine. Wow, a steam-powered bicycle. God, that is great. I would love to have a steam-powered bicycle. I think it might be a little dangerous, but it sure would be cool, wouldn't it? And he liked mathematics, flying, no kidding, and mechanics, and took his first flying lesson at 14 years old. At 19, Hughes inherited 75% of the family fortune after his father's death. He married, moved to Los Angeles into the Ambassador Hotel in hopes to become a filmmaker, and he became an expert golfer, learned to fly a Waco biplane, and produced his first motion picture. Guess he was kept somewhat busy. So Howard formed the Hughes Aircraft Company in 1932, set multiple world airspeeds records, acquired Trans World Airlines and Air West, won the Congressional Gold Medal for his aviation achievements, and was introduced into the National Aviation Hall of Fame. In the 60s, he extended his financial empire to include major businesses in Las Vegas, such as real estate, hotels, casinos, and was known as one of the most powerful men in the state of Nevada, if not in the United States. In his later years, it is said that Hughes had particular eating habits, had a phobia about germs, using tissues to pick up objects, and ultimately vanished from the public. His drug use made him particularly unrecognizable as one of the most influential individuals in the world. And what do we have on him? And we've got some pictures before break time. And there is the wonderful Howard Hughes in a dress. I guess in those times, many times children were dressed the same way, regardless of gender. But there he is, in case you haven't seen him before. Mars is calling. Are you sure this is him?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
I don't really recognize him here. And this was supposedly in front of his front door. Yeah, I see it. I see the similarities now of Howard.
This is
And
very tiny.
tiny, small picture, but a really neat picture of him with one of his airplanes there. That's not the biplane we spoke of. That's a uniplane. But it's kind of a neat picture. And there it is. And he did a lot of flying, and he loved it. And another picture of him a bit later in life. But not that late, is he? There is Howard Hughes. Okay. And let's take a look at some of this stuff here. What do we got? Let's get into that a little later. The fake stuff a little later. Okay, and that's not him, right?
Mm-mm.
Okay. He's got so many movies that he did. We should have some of those, but anyway. So many of them were with what's her name and what's his name? Sings the calypso that way.
Jane Russell and Robert Mitchum.
Jane Russell and Robert Mitchum was kind of the favorite, and of course that CD we show every time. So be it. There's a couple of what should I say, interesting things that I don't know if anybody ever saw this. I really like this movie called The Hoax, and Richard Gere and I can't even read the and what's his name from who got his, well, he's in the Dr. Octagon or whatever in the Spider-Man, and he got killed right at the beginning of in Indiana Jones, and you hardly ever see those people later, but this guy made it, didn't he? And you'll let me know who that is here in a second.
Mm-hmm.
And if I could only read, I could tell you right now.
Doc Ock.
Who?
Doc Ock is what he was called in the show.
No. Anyway, Orson Welles also did a film called F for Fake, and it really was a good film, and a lot of it, The Hoax and this, has to do with Howard Hughes' fake biography, but it's a whole different thing, and it gets into the Nixon thing and
Alfred Molina.
Who?
Alfred Molina.
Alfred Molina. And with that, we will take off. We'll wish you Merry Christmas one more time, and we will be back after the news and a few messages, as they say, from our sponsors. Thanks so much. Be back in a minute.
You've been listening to the Educated Retirement Show with Jay Kaplan. Tune in every Friday at 3 p.m. to learn more about your mortgage and reverse mortgages. And don't forget, each show is also podcasted on the KMET website, KMET1490am.com. Thanks for listening.